Well, that was the wrong button. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Scheduled Maintenance Show. My name is Welgo. I'm your host, the guy who cries every single time the Jedi die in Revenge of the Sith. May the 4th be with you. Happy Star Wars Day, everybody. We got a good show for you today. We got a new guest on with us, somebody who I know that we've had quite the conversation about Star Wars in the past for a Star Wars themed episode. They are a good friend, and in the same way that Obi-Wan and Anakin are friends, to where he's my friend and eventually he turns against me and I hate him. But he's also somebody who the Jedi definitely passed over because he's too old. Welcome to the show, TheWombatPoop. You guys know him and love him.
I'm sorry, did you say you cry when the Jedis die in Revenge
Yes, I
of the
fucking
Sith?
do.
Dude, I look forward to the little baby Jedi getting slaughtered every time. I'm like, why couldn't that be a scene? I wanted to see that.
Okay, first of all, that scene has been so over memeified that I can't take it seriously anymore. However, remembering seeing episode 3 in the theaters and seeing all these characters that were my heroes growing up getting slaughtered by their own men still affects me to this day.
It was glorious. I'm somebody. Okay, so first in context, in 2002, when Anakin in Attack of the Clones was the Padawan, I went out of my way and had my mom change my hairstyle to be a Padawan hairstyle. So I had the whole braid and the ponytail for 3 years, and the only reason I changed it is because Anakin's hair changed in the Revenge of the Sith. So I grew out my hair. I loved that dude. He could do no wrong in my eyes.
You're telling me you did the Jedi Padawan instead of the Obi-Wan mullet?
100%. I had a Padawan braid and a ponytail from the age of 8 to like 11. It was crazy.
And this is why you're here on the show today to talk Star Wars, because goddamn.
My parents, and I'll do you one better. My mom still has the braid.
Oh my God.
22 years ago, she cut that off. It is still, I could go into her house and find it within 2 minutes.
That's just incredible. I absolutely love that.
She was in the theaters when for the original Star Wars, so.
Jeez. Well, shout out to Mama Poop right there.
Mama Poop? No.
Oh, sorry. I assumed no. Wombat was first name, Poop was last name.
Oh,
D was middle.
Oh, that's all I'm going to call her now.
No, we'll call her Mama Wombat. That works.
No, it's 100% Mama Poop in my phone now.
I only say that because I know she's probably watching, so I had to do that to get her to laugh.
Absolutely.
So your mother's a wonderful woman. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Star Wars for the next 2 hours because we're absolutely fucking nerds. As you see with the Boba Fett corner there, I've got the Boba Fett mug ready today, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. But before we get into Star Wars, did this last week, and I kind of like this being the sort of start to the show, given that not only nerdy pop culture and shit like that, but also a gaming show. I want to ask you, what games have you been playing the past week? What have you been up to?
I resubscribed to Final Fantasy 14.
Pour one out to the homie. We lost another one to Final Fantasy and anime women.
I watched the Evercold, like whatever it's called, FanFest thing. I don't keep up with the game too much. And when they said that they were like, hey, gearing your alts, no, you don't have to do that. I was like, oh my God, they just shot a cannon at the whole industry. So I have to get caught up, and I know there's hundreds of hours of stories. So if I don't start now, I'm not going to be ready by the time the expansion launches next year.
Yeah. Face.
Yep.
As we know, Face has tried to get me to play Final Fantasy for the past, months now. And I also saw
it's going to work.
And the idea of, first of all, when he's telling me that you can just swap between jobs whenever on one tune, you don't need multiple tunes, I was like, okay, that is pretty cool, but my alcoholism doesn't like that. And then, seeing that announcement that, oh yeah, gear can just be your gear and you don't have to keep farming other stuff too. And it's like, that's actually a really cool change.
It's like World of Warcraft responded to the one character, all jobs with warbands, which I think is a better system. I like that system better than the one job, all jobs for one character. But then Final Fantasy was like, oh, so we'll do you one better. all jobs, one character, same set of gear. Don't worry about it.
Hold my beer. I got this, essentially.
Pretty much, pretty much. It's just it's incredible,
And we haven't even
the
talked
entire
about
industry has to respond.
and we haven't even talked about the hint at the even best feature of a butt slider for character creation. So
I mean, ESO has had a posterior slider since I think launch, so they got to get on that. I'm not kidding. It's actually called posterior dimensions.
what a world we live in with gaming. Holy shit. Take us back to like
Fantastic.
4 pixels.
Posterior dimensions, everybody.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, so moving on from posterior dimensions. Yeah, good to hear you're playing Final Fantasy. Obviously, we play WoW together pretty regularly during the week, so I know that about you. But yeah, no, I'm glad you've gotten back into Final Fantasy and enjoying that a little bit. It's awesome.
Yeah, I kind of just stick to MMOs and bounce between them, but now I'm like, I finally have a little. You know how like WoW gets in that little period where you don't have to play it 7 days, you
The
can only
seasonal
play it for
lull.
3 days. Right, you can play it for 3 days a week and still do everything you need to do. I'm like, okay, this gives me time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's good to get a break. Get a nice break so you're not burning yourself out from it, and you can take that time you need, which is good.
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to get so mad. You want to just like start killing your guildies
Oh, that still
in game.
happens. Anyway, in game, thank you. Yes, in Minecraft. Also, before we move on, I do want to say happy birthday, bud. You recently celebrated a birthday this weekend. So I just want to give you a
Yep.
happy little birthday.
Yeah, my mom couldn't keep me in for 2 more days and give me the best birthday ever. And then my aunt had the nerve of having my cousin on May the 4th. So happy birthday to my cousin. I hate you, and I will never be okay with this.
Shout out to your cousin. God, we'll clip this and we'll send it to them just so they have that
Absolutely.
for memories of their birthday later. That'll be your gift to them. Is the clip of you saying you hate them.
Oh, absolutely. Yep, yep. They're well aware. They're dead to me. I can't help it. It's just a rage inside of me that knowing I was just so close, but I missed out by 2 days, and then that little twerp ass kid who annoyed the hell. I'm just no. You don't know.
On that note, it's my mom's birthday today. So happy birthday, Mom. So speaking of moms.
Hey yo.
So all right, so let's talk Star Wars. We've been kind of we talked, I forget when it was, like a week or so ago. You and I were yapping Star Wars, and you couldn't believe some of the takes. And realizing the show's on May the 4th, we're like, oh, we absolutely have to get you on here. So you
I'm
talked.
still processing some of those takes.
We'll get into it in a little bit. But while I got you here, we already kind of talked about some memories and stuff about Star Wars. I want to hear what was your favorite Star Wars memory to start?
Oh God. I mean, it's hard to say favorite Star Wars memory because I have no memory before Star Wars. Star Wars was my first memory, at least the first one that I can really like conceptualize and go, I remember every aspect of this. It was Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. My parents had gotten it on VHS because they didn't think I was old enough to go to the theaters, so my brother went and saw it, and Maul fucked him up. So they made the right call, but they decided to get it for me on VHS, and I remember watching that movie. I want to say 3 or 4 times in the next like day and a half. And this is a VHS, so I had to like manually rewind this thing. And I fell in love as soon as that right there, right then. And that's probably got to be my favorite one because I mean, it's the first memory. And then my mom went out and picked up the original trilogy box set for the VHS, and I binge watched those. Fell in love with the Sith immediately.
Shocking
So,
no one.
huh?
I said to nobody's shock, you fall in
Oh
love
yeah,
with the
no.
Sith.
I mean, it hit me so hard that as soon as I learned what the Sith code was, I decided that's how I'm going to live my life, and I basically did. For the last 30 years, I have lived by the Sith code, and it has worked out pretty fucking well.
That honestly explains so much now that you say that out
Oh
loud,
yeah,
and knowing you for the past few months that I have, or fucking few months. How long have we? Anyway, that's
10 months.
too long. Anyway, it makes a lot of things click and make sense now. Speaking about that, so
And I gotta ask, since are you Jedi or Sith?
Oh man, I will say I always leaned more towards liking the philosophy of the Sith versus the Jedi.
Hard to argue with it, right?
Hard to argue with it for sure. I just on a fundamental philosophical level, the Sith just feel more empowering, not just in the sense of like raw power, but just in the sense of being able to be true to oneself versus the Jedi,
Mm-hmm.
and especially in later depictions in media, like especially more recently, it just the Jedi just feel so egotistically in charge of things.
Right. And arrogance to them. Like
Yeah.
they know. For me, the Jedi are about power through repression, and the Sith are about power through acceptance. And, they accept their emotions, they conquer their emotions, they master
Hmm.
them, and then they empower themselves through those. That is a far more volatile form of power, but it is also an objectively more powerful type.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I whenever this is gonna be so nerdy. When I played football in high school, I always felt myself being better at the game when I was just straight up pissed off and using that to like, especially as a lineman, being pissed off at the guy in front of me and just I'm gonna use that rage and just knock this dude on his ass, and then going and watching Star Wars and going, yo, Luke's a bitch for not using his rage. That's crazy.
Right? Exactly. I mean, I get why he didn't, because like in this universe there's an actual like cosmic tether to your soul essentially,
Yeah.
and like for every dark action you take. I mean, like Star Wars: The Old Republic, while it's not an amazing MMO, it has a good feature where you can make choices,
Hmm.
light or dark choices, and they will actually affect not a huge aspect of the game, but you will like physically change. Your face will
Yeah.
become gray, your eyes, and it's just like, so there are consequences to it, but never using it ever. I mean, come on.
That's First of all, I wish I could have gotten into that game. I think it's more so just BioWare games as a whole. Like with the decision making, it to me feels obvious what the choices are going to do. So it kind of lost the appeal of it. Because every single choice in that game, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going Sith. I don't care which side of the Force I am or faction. I'm going evil because why the fuck not?
Right. It's more interesting that way.
But in terms of
It's
like the physical side of it, of like never using it but not fully giving in, that's why I always like the
right.
Kyle Katarn character of, he's, in those games, the Jedi Knight games, of being able to tap into some dark powers but not being fully into it or giving into it. It's
Exactly.
like there is a
Kind of like
middle
Mace
ground.
Windu.
Yeah.
Mace Windu is an angry son of a bitch, but he knows how to maintain that balance. It's similar to how like the void works in Warcraft. You know what I mean? Like you can use it, but if you're not careful, it will consume you.
Yeah.
You got to be smart about it. But I mean, I just look at the Sith code and just like the fact that it starts off with peace is a lie. Like, yeah. I mean, peace is like a short-lived thing that you can experience every once in a while in your individual life and like widespread, but it's fleeting.
Yeah.
And the important part is not focusing on that peace, it's focusing on how to conquer the lack of peace.
Oh, it's a great mantra to live by, and it or not live by, but like in terms of just its structure. And it reminds me of two things. Like the thing I love about Assassin's Creed mantra is, nothing is true, everything is permitted type thing, where it's like peace is a lie. Nothing you see is true. You can do what you can to take care of what you need to do. And then
Hmm.
also just that story of like peace is a lie, and like it reminds me of what was it? Sam Witwer, who does Darth Maul in animated, the voice for Darth Maul now.
Of
Uh,
course, yeah.
but also, in Starkiller, there was an interview where he was talking about interviewing for Starkiller for the Force Unleashed games. And they were telling him, okay, you're meditating, you're constructing your lightsaber, go. And how he captured it was like he was frustrated, he was struggling. And they're like, well, why are you so angry with it? Like, the meditation and everything, it's supposed to be this. He's like, he wouldn't know how to meditate. Vader wouldn't have taught him how to meditate because he's just knows anger. So, like,
Right.
coming in with this and being like, yeah, no, it makes sense. He wouldn't know how to be calm and peaceful because that's what
Exactly.
he's never known. And it's just those
It's
small touches that I've like, yeah, no, that really embodies what the Sith code is.
It's the same reason why in The Phantom Menace, when the inexplicable laser gates turn on, uh, Qui-Gon sits down to meditate, but Maul paces.
Yeah.
There, you cannot meditate without peace, and if your fundamental core is that peace is a lie, then meditation is just—it's kind of like trying to meditate with ADHD. It ain't happening.
Oh God, fucking. I remember that's so real. Oh my God, you just cut cut to the deep of a locked away memory of me going, maybe I should try meditation, and then I could never do it.
Oh, we've all been there, dude. The whole pillow on the ground, sitting there, nice like calm
let me just
room,
listen to the noises
for like 5 minutes, and then going like, "What the fuck am I doing? I still can't turn this shit off."
You hear a bird chirp and you go, I wonder what kind of bird it is. I hope it's having a good day. What food did it have? Did it eat yet? What's its credit score? And it's just like it's downhill from there. Absolutely.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, what is that bird's credit score?
You know what? I think they use a different system than our credit system. So I would probably say he's clipped a few wings, if you know what I mean. So
I don't, but he sounds like a dangerous man.
Moving on. Yeah, it's funny you say you don't know life without Star Wars. I was trying to think about the answer to that question for myself of like favorite memory or first memory, and like I don't remember the first time I remember watching the original trilogy. I just remember loving it. I can't remember what age I remember seeing the first time or what have you. I just remember knowing that Empire Strikes Back was my favorite. That
of course
I loved all the sequences. My first watching wasn't on VHS. My family had a Laserdisc player, and I could still to this day probably remember at which point we needed to flip the disc over before going to the next scene.
Holy shit. Yeah, I didn't get exposed until 1997 or 8 or something. Like we had it, but then I don't remember until 99. That's crazy. Laserdisc? Whoa.
Yeah, talk about deep cut.
Man.
For anybody with a 2 in their birth year, essentially it was older, bigger DVDs, but worse.
Think about like a record player, but video.
For video, that's a better description than what I said. Yeah, so that works. It's crazy how we went from big ass discs to videos, then back to smaller discs, but
and now it's just imaginary.
It's all a lie. Peace is a lie. But I don't remember the first time watching it, but I do remember seeing like the differences between the Laserdisc versions and like the special edition VHSs and like all the changes and stuff. And oh my God.
Yeah, like I don't know A New Hope without Jabba the Hutt in it. I don't. I didn't know that. I grew up with like that was the 1997 like re-edit where he put all like the CGI shit in. And like to me, keep in mind, in 1999, I was 5 years old. This shit was magic to me. I didn't know it was before, so I didn't really. It blew my mind when I found out later on that scene not only wasn't the same in the theatrical edition, it just didn't exist.
Yeah.
And you can go back and you can see like the original footage of like this big motherfucker just walking around speaking in English. And I'm like, dude, honestly, I wish they had used that because Jabba being this big fat slob, just not a slug. I'm kind of into that.
I mean, they kind of got there in the end, though. You go from big ass slobby man to big ass sloth. So
true. I mean, it is like the alien version of like the Warcraft guy. So
all right, that feels a little personal, but okay. But
I was thinking South Park. My bad.
I know. But like even just what is it when the stormtroopers are on Tatooine in episode 4 and they're like, oh look, droids, and the pan of seeing the dewback in the background that was never there before, to the special edition of having that there. It's like, oh, that okay, sure.
Like, I would love to be in my mom's my mom's mind, watching the VHS version with me for the first time, like considering she saw them all in theaters and she hadn't seen them in quite some time, but she's got to be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, right. It would be like if we saw the prequels now and he brought out a special edition and changed a bunch of shit. It's like, that doesn't seem right. That's extra for no reason.
Honestly, that shit hasn't aged very well anyway, so it probably wouldn't stand out that bad.
No, it has not.
Especially like those like big CGI rooms where you're just like, I can basically see the lines, guys.
Yeah, it's a no-go for me. I mean,
I give
granted,
them a pass because they like shattered the glass ceiling for every other movie to like just go crazy with CGI, and they're the reason we have all this cool stuff. But like,
yeah,
oof,
don't get me started on the volume that they use now for practically every Star Wars project. Like, it's cool. The technology is cool to film, on a completely LED screen stage to go anywhere you need to. But like, the difference between something filmed on that soundstage versus or on that stage versus actually out somewhere is night and day. Like watching some shots in Mandalorian versus some shots in Andor. And it's like, okay, you could tell they were actually in a town in Andor. And this feels a lot better.
exactly. It's kind of similar to how like horror movies and sci-fi. It's you using practical effects and practical sets when possible. It's always going to be better. Like, yeah,
Oh,
I know
absolutely.
none of this is real, but like, yeah, I know the horror movie guy isn't real, but when he cuts someone's head off, I want to CGI is going to be more obvious. Like in a sci-fi, I'm going to be able to tell if you're on a soundstage.
Yeah, absolutely.
No matter how well you do it, it's going to be there. But that's why I liked it when they return more to the like practical stuff.
Oh, 100%. It's always better. Like, not to go off franchise here, but even when they announced for some of the later Jurassic World movies that we're going to do some more practical dinosaur effects than just CGI, it made it better because it goes back to the originals where they didn't have as much of the technology, and it feels overall a better quality product, especially with
Speaking of movies that aged well, though, that did age well. Like,
oh, the first Jurassic Park,
yeah,
absolutely.
oh yeah,
It's still
and
gorgeous.
like less than half an hour, and the Dinotism comes out.
Oh, it's fantastic. Half an
Yeah,
hour comes out within the first 5 minutes. What do you mean?
fair enough.
That movie's opening credits roll, and I'm already transported to my autism. What do you mean?
Yep.
We got a comment in the chat here that I want to highlight. Anakin should have stayed old in episode 6. The change when he became a ghost back to Christensen, not a fan.
I
I'm split on that because I see from a lore perspective, Luke would not know who the fuck that was. He's never seen his dad
right.
young.
I mean, you can argue that because of the Force, he would automatically know because of his strength in the Force, that connection, that now the parental connection, it would just be automatic to him. Because to be clear, he doesn't look the same when he's a ghost when he pulled off the helmet. Like he has hair and a beard and stuff.
Sure.
So like he looks different anyway. So you can argue that the Force communicated, "Hey, I'm your dad." But I'm more of I I don't even know how I feel about it, honestly. It's weird because I grew up with the prequels, so him being Hayden Christensen made sense to me, but it doesn't really make sense in the context of the scene.
Well, if say Luke doesn't know what he looks like, it is what it is, or communicate through the Force. You could almost look at it in the sense of like, well, that was the last time Anakin was Anakin, because when he didn't look like that,
That's
he
the logic
was
behind
Vader.
it.
And
Right, that is the logic behind. But I mean, you could argue that he stopped being Anakin when he slaughtered the Sand People on Tatooine. You could. So
I think that might be a little too early, though. Like that
I
might
mean,
have
that
been
was
one of
his
his starting steps towards Vader, but I think he would still
right.
be Anakin then.
I mean, essentially, yes. So, like, that's the logic they used behind it, but I can absolutely see why people didn't like it.
Oh, 100%. Because then you're like, well, why didn't Obi-Wan turn into Ewan McGregor type thing and all this stuff?
Well, because
And it's like,
he died when he was old, and he was still with the light side of the Force when he was old, so it makes sense. But
yeah,
if I were Yoda being my 900-year-old ass, and Obi-Wan being my 50-year-old, somehow only in his 50s at that point, believe it or not,
I know it's crazy.
I'd be looking at Anakin being like, "What the hell? You got rewarded? You turned to the dark side. You slaughtered you killed my friends, everyone I've ever known and loved. You destroyed my entire way of life. I lived this for 1,000 years, and you just go whoopsie doodle, toss you down a vent shaft, which by the way didn't even end up working out, and you just get to like be hot. This is bullshit."
My favorite joke about it is he comes back, he looks like, Revenge of the Sith Anakin. What if he walks into like, the ghost break room and runs into all the younglings in their ghost form? What are they going to think? They're like, what the fuck are you doing here?
fantastic visual to imagine, but obviously none of those kids went to Force Heaven
Oh no, they got
because
reused by the
they
Force.
never
Like,
got to. Yeah, they never learned. They're not important enough for Qui-Gon to teach him in the afterlife, and they never learned it because they kind of got chopped down with trainer sabers. So
yeah, no, they definitely just got recycled by the Force and turned into probably some new
100%,
Naboo.
100%, yeah, 100%. They're like, yeah, they became like, no, oh no, they died, and the Force was like, really? That's all you could do? You're a Gungan now.
Oh, ew! I'd rather just go to Force Hell. Honestly,
Yeah.
don't turn me into a Gungan.
Mm-hmm.
But oh man, so what we talk about favorite Star Wars memory? What's your give me your top three favorite Star Wars like projects, whether that's movie,
Whether it's
show,
shows, movies,
book,
anything.
yeah, any try to narrow it down to three projects in Star Wars, and
Well,
Legends included too if you need to go that far. But
I will stick canonically,
okay,
just for simplicity's sake, because it has been years since I've explored into the legends.
okay,
But um, I find it hard to use any projects that are still ongoing. Like, for example, Mandalorian Grogu, I want to see how that ends before
that's
because they could
completely
totally
fair.
shit the bed. Because season 3 was not awesome. It wasn't bad. I didn't hate it as much as other people did, but
Yeah,
I don't really want to. And obviously, like Andor is phenomenal, but ongoing.
no,
So
is it though?
I'd have to probably. It depends on what they want to do.
No, it's not ongoing with how the last episode of the final season ended.
You're right. My brain went like had a coma there. Yep.
They literally
So
ended at butt end to Rogue One.
yep. Yep. I think I fucking actually didn't see that episode. I'm not gonna lie to you. I must have fallen off at like the second to last because I don't even remember the second season now that I'm thinking about it.
Really,
That's terrible. That is shameful.
that
My
is
life is a
very
tornado.
shameful.
I think that's what I'm doing tomorrow before raid.
Do
But
it, you gotta, because Andor season two, like as good as Andor season one is, somehow they raised the bar in my opinion, and it ends so
right.
damn well.
But so I'll probably just stick to movies. Just
Okay,
to
sure.
and in no particular order, it's gonna be Empire Strikes Back,
Okay,
Revenge of the Sith, and Rogue One.
interesting. Okay, so I obviously will agree with Empire Strikes Back there because that's got to be number one. The opening into Hoth and everything with that is the most iconic, one of, if not the most iconic battle scenes in the entire franchise. So much that they remade it in The Last Jedi.
Poorly, but still.
Poorly, yes. And just the
Although we
big,
did get more out of that, so
yeah, the big reveal of the family history, everything. Hell, even Cloud City, just such a fantastic movie and a great sequel to.
which is really interesting because it was not well received when it first released.
I could see that.
And I could see that too, but I had the luxury of having the third movie like just sitting on the shelf, so I could just pop that in, and I didn't have to wait a
Yeah,
whopping 3 years to find out what happened.
yeah.
But I just find it very interesting to see like that one of the most beloved Star Wars movies actually kind of had a not so positive reaction.
Well, unfortunately, I think it probably suffered from the fact that it was a sequel to such a groundbreaking film that
Right.
everybody's expectations were probably miles above
Right.
where it landed, even though it landed pretty damn high.
Which is also really funny because if you like watch A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back and you just kind of like judge them as movies, or if you just like, and this might be controversial, but I've had this opinion for decades. If you just watch A New Hope, it's not very good.
No, it's
It's
very
not it's a boring ass movie. If I'm being honest.
it's very slow. It takes its time to sort of set the groundwork for this universe you're in while also not
Exactly.
explaining a single damn thing.
Right, right. And like I'm not gonna say it's bad because it's not, but
No.
it's not as good as people like to remember it as, because I go back and I watch that at least once a year. And when I get to 4, I'm like, all right, it's one of the shorter ones. It's okay. It's fine. It's good. It's good. It's fine. But just get through it.
Yeah. I remember doing a movie marathon with my brother and sister-in-law one time. I think it was before I want to say the final sequel movie came out, The Rise of Skywalker, and we decided to watch every movie in chronological order, including, Rogue One and Solo and all that.
No, you can skip Solo.
We're gonna touch base on this in a bit. You fucking hold your opinion, okay? Because I feel like we're gonna start yelling at each other. But yeah, number 4.
Great.
Number 4 comes up, and it's like, we'll get there. We'll get through. You just gotta make it. You gotta make it to Yavin. Once you get to Yavin, it's okay.
Exactly. Then it's fucking all. Yeah, it's all cylinders. It's everything. But I love, and to be clear, I love that movie, but not because it's a great movie at all.
Like, if it weren't for that movie, we wouldn't have all the other ones that we say are ranking above it. And
exactly, and we probably wouldn't have much of any of the modern, like, sci-fi or hell, like Marvel movies would not be as advanced as they were. I mean,
sure.
Star Wars, like, really just like shattered all of that and said, "Fuck it, we can just do this now."
Listen, I owe a lot to my grandparents and great grandparents for doing what they did to allow the timeline to get to this point where I can sit here and talk about Star Wars. But yeah, do I spend as much time with them? Listen, we don't talk about that. But do I ever go back and talk to them and like want to spend time with them as much as I wanted to? Probably not. It's just
exactly
not my cup of tea. I could be thankful to them.
Appreciate it.
But I'm going to skip it.
And just appreciate it. Just know what it is, appreciate it, and be like, you know what? You got a special place in my heart, and I won't ignore you, but I'm good.
Okay. And because it's digging at my fucking brain, what's your goddamn problem with Solo? Because I would honestly put Solo in one of my top 3 slots because I enjoyed the fuck out of that movie.
I have 2 major issues with Solo.
Okay, go for it.
One of them has nothing to do with the actual movie. It has everything to do with it existing in the first place.
Okay.
I fall under the camp of you did not need an origin story for Solo. I never asked for it. I never wanted it. Han Solo was my favorite character in the original trilogy, so I felt like having this air of mystique around him pre A New Hope like added to his character, and by exploring his origin in any way, even if you did it really, really well, would be borderline disingenuous to the original arc of the character. So that was my first major issue, just it existing because of that principle. My second major issue is going to be the ending of it. And it's been a long time since I've seen it, but if memory serves correctly, he has a choice, and it's a monetary choice. At the end, he gets to choose between a small amount of these credits or a small amount to get him, like, I think 10,000 credits or something, and then let the little rebel band have the rest of it and go do God's work with it, right? Or he can fuck him over and take the literal millions of credits worth of stuff. This the kind of shit that will set him for life. Kind of his entire ambition when we meet him in A New Hope. He could have solved that just right there. But no, he goes for the low payout and the right thing to do. Han Solo would never do that pre-Death Star. Pre the Battle of Yavin, Han Solo would always choose himself over anyone. He would kill people to do anything. Like when you're introduced to him in A New Hope, it's with cold-blooded murder. He just straight up blasts a guy. That's the first time you see him. And it's not until he gets paid, he fucks off, and he has that moment where he's like, fuck, I can't do this. I got to turn back. That kid's going to get his ass killed. And then he does the right thing. Up until that point, he is a scoundrel. He is a scumbag. And by making him do the right thing at the end of Solo, you kill that. You kind of dismantle his entire arc in A New Hope. If that, like, that's how I feel about it.
Well, first of all, I just want to say he didn't kill him cold-blooded murder. He shot second. Second of all,
Okay.
no, 100%. He shot first. I'm just giving you shit.
First. He didn't shoot first. He didn't shoot first. He didn't shoot first, and he didn't shoot second. You can't shoot first or second if you're the only one to pull the trigger. He's the only one who pulled the trigger in that. I don't care what kind of janky ass little. I tilted my head. No.
I know. I just
like it's a trick question. He didn't shoot first.
The moment you said he killed in cold-blooded murder when we first met him, I'm like, I gotta trigger the fuck out of Wombat right now.
I'm surprised I didn't see it coming. I got really invested in the answer. Like I was taking it like I was like I gotta have a really good reason for this.
If you guys roll back the tape, you could see the moment I decided to do that, because I had the biggest shit-eating grin on my face of like, I'm about to destroy this whole man's career.
Somebody said the lighthouse, lighthouse, Jesus, the lightsaber battle in A New Hope was boring. If you feel that way, if you've seen the fan edit of, I think it's SC36 or something, somebody remade that lightsaber fight to be like phenomenal. Go watch it after this if you haven't.
Yeah. I want to address that, but first I want to finish this with you here. So I see your point with the whole decision making and going back on it, doing the right thing. I would say, though, that was a theme of his character probably throughout the entire all the movies, though. Like, yes, it was more prominent in the first one, but he was always this, I'm only caring for myself, but he always came back to care for others and do right by others. So
right, but that character trait isn't introduced until the Battle of Yavin and the Death Star. That's when he, like, because up until that point, he doesn't do that. You never see him act like that until he turns back for Luke. So that's what I'm saying. Like, his character in the end of A New Hope and Empire and Return is different than his character in the beginning of A New Hope.
Sure. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is, by doing what they did through the Solo movie, reinforces how he kind of came to that decision, that it wasn't just a one-off thing, that he is this guy that's trying to live on his own. He still, throughout the entire Solo movie, is like, I'm going to do big, I'm going to score big, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get the girl, I'm going to live my life how I want to, and do everything that we know Han Solo to be at the start of episode 4, where I'm here, I'm making money. Sure, I've got debt that I'm trying to get paid for, or to get off my back, but like, no, I'm just living this for me. And Solo reinforces it that, he's got more to him than that, and he's always had that in the back of his mind and his character, and that's what also pushed him to make the decision in the fourth. I don't think it undermines it. I think it just reinforces it.
Well, for me, his whole goal is to hit that big score so he can get his girl, he can get his life, and he can set him. His whole goal is to find his girl, get a big enough score to where they don't have to worry about anything, and fuck off and live happily ever after. Mm-hmm. So everything up to the point where he's about to make this decision is to get paid and get the girl. He loses the girl, so why not just get paid? What motivates him to not take the largest payout? Like what about him? What about what he's experienced, especially what he's just experienced, would inspire him to do the selfless thing? Because the Han Solo I know and love would have just had his heart broken, had the one thing that tethered him to being a good person, his entire life's ambition, just shattered in front of him. And fuck you, I'm going to do exactly what I need to do to just set up the rest of my life. I'm going with the plan anyway. And that involves robbing these guys and not taking the little measly payout and living as a scoundrel for however many years.
So I would swap over and I would point out two things with that. One being, the reason he's even doing that job with the coaxium was because he fucked up the job previously with the train heist. And that led to him now being involved with the O2 Crimson Dawn and needing to pay them back with this final heist. When we get to that point, he hears like, well, wait a second, I'm working for this shit organization that's essentially who when he was younger, it reminds him of that. I would wager, being the scrum rat that's gotta
Right.
do all these
And he's
biddings for these
working for
people.
them out of necessity because, they have his girl and he owes them the money. So he's doing it out of necessity. But that guy's
Exactly.
dead at that point.
Well,
His obligation's gone.
No, so before that, he comes up with the plan and he tells the Woody Harrelson, I forget his character's name, Woody Harrelson, that we can come up with a plan that does both. We get rid of Crimson Dawn and they no longer have a hit on us, and we could still get paid. We could still make money off of this and give them everything there. It's a win-win-win in their mind. He comes up with the plan. Woody Harrelson goes, you know what, I'm stepping away, what have you. Go to the end of it when he's like, when Dryden Voss is dead, they're loading up the stuff for the rebellion. He's already made the plan to give it to him, and to just accept the measly payout could be the fact that, this guy that got him off of the planet he found him on when he was a trooper, got him out of there. He's kind of free. He was learning the ropes from this dude, saw this dude lose everything, and then go, you know what? I'm going to just fucking betray you. I'm going to take Chewie this stuff and screw you. To where he had to now kill him, quote unquote, shot first in that sense. It's a lot. And then he sees Kira fly away and he's just like, you know what? Fuck it. Everybody's a liar. Everybody's out to kill me. I'll do this one thing right. I'll start anew on my own thing. And then it comes to the full circle. Because then he just goes off and steals the ship from Lando after that. And he's like talking about going to work for Jabba, and the cycle repeats.
So, and I hear you up until he's like, fuck it, might as well do the right thing. Where's the incentive to do the right thing in that situation? His girl's gone, his mentor's gone, he's got nothing, and everything he just went through was essentially for nothing. Like,
probably due to the fact that
human aspect would just be like, I might as well get out of this with the most possible, especially Han Solo.
Probably due to the fact that, at that point, it's just him and Chewie against the Marauders of like 15, 20 Marauders there. So how's he going to get out of that?
I feel like I'd have to review the exact scene, but I feel like there is a choice he gets to make where he actively chooses the lower payout. And that's my issue with it. That's really my issue, is the active choice of him taking the lower payout. They could have written it in a way that he just gets the lower payout because that's just his end of the deal. And yeah, he's kind of in a corner there and he's just like, fuck it, I got to do it. But to make him do the right thing just for the sake of doing the right thing, to end the movie on him doing the right thing, that's what it felt like to me.
I would argue at the fact, because at the point where he has that choice, you're not wrong. He has the moment where he has to make a choice to either help these guys or not. The choice is to, try to work with them to take on Crimson Dawn and let these guys go off with the stuff, or take his chances and fight all these marauders with the four of them and probably die. Either way, he's facing the chance he's going to die and possibly lose everything. But his choice then is, you know what? I'm going to take my chances to get rid of Crimson Dawn and their guys off my back, square away at the Marauders. I can walk away from this with some sort of reward and not owe anybody. And either way, he's looking down the barrel of a gun, right? It's either the Marauders in front of him that have him outnumbered, they know where they are, they could just easily kill the four of them, walk away with the stuff, and, they don't have to worry about it. But they offer like, hey, we don't want to kill you. Help us take care of this, and we'll still pay you. And you get your clean slate, essentially. And I think that's where he comes to make the choice, because then he goes with the plan. He fights Dryden Voss, kills him, and does the whole thing to where he could just be like, okay, it's essentially a clean slate now. I can do what I want. I've got some money to me, not as much as, I would have gotten before, but now I don't have to work for Crimson Dawn.
This shit, cut bait. Like, fuck it. I'm just going to cut my losses.
I mean, he essentially he tried to do that earlier in the movie when he's like,
I can see where you're coming from. I can. And in the context of the movie itself, just if you were to watch Solo, a Star Wars story, as a standalone film, it works. It works. It's a good movie. It is a fun movie. It's a fun movie to watch. It has plenty of action. The little Lando being pansexual, the robot, I didn't necessarily have a problem with it, but I'm like, I don't know why the fuck we're doing this.
Can we talk about how amazing Donald Glover did as Lando, though?
I loved him as it, but I feel like a lot of people didn't. But I just feel like it was just people just being pissed off at the pansexual angle.
No, I think the thing that made Solo struggle wasn't people being pissed about things with Solo. I think the thing that killed Solo was the fact that Solo came out after The Last Jedi.
That was a huge part. I think it was, yeah, The Last Jedi had basically told everybody, don't trust us. Which, keep in mind, when I left the theater on The Last Jedi, I left thinking that was good. I genuinely did. I thought it was good. Immediate reaction was that was good. I enjoyed that. But then I got home, and within 3 hours of thinking about it and talking about it with my friends, I realized all the issues with it.
Mhm.
And I think it was partially because of, obviously The Last Jedi being what it was. But I think another huge reason it flopped was my primary reason for not liking it is I think a lot of people sat in the camp of why the hell are we doing an origin story for Solo? I don't need this in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see that too, because but from the mystery angle you mentioned before, we don't need to explore his character.
We don't like, I don't need to know every aspect of a character's origin. And sometimes that is like that's a detriment to the character.
Sure. At the same time,
Like,
though,
would we need an origin for the first 19 years of Luke's life? Like, no, right?
no, but we're getting it with snippets in like the Kenobi show and stuff like that.
Right, we're getting snippets, and I appreciate that. Like the little snippets of like, hey, remember this is still happening. I like that. But like to me, it wouldn't be as like crazy as doing a Luke Skywalker or a Leia origin story. But it's similar. It's similar to having Leia in Kenobi. It's just like, I get why you did it, but you didn't have to, you know?
Yeah. No, and I could see that angle too. As a movie, I still absolutely love Solo. I think it's a fantastic Western heist movie for Star Wars, and they did
Absolutely. For what it is good. Like I said,
Yeah.
standalone, out of context, is a standalone film. If they made that movie and it was not a Star Wars movie and it was just the exact same movie, I'd probably watch it all the time. But because for me, it's so disingenuous to the original character that I loved as a child, it's got the sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah. No, and I can see that completely. I am happy to hear, though, out of your issues, because we've brought this up before and you've shat on me for liking Solo. But hearing the issues that you have with it, I can understand your position more than, my immediate assumption is like every Star Wars fan on the internet where somebody says something is a bad take, you just assume they go, oh, I don't like it because it's shit, and then they never go from there. I know you wouldn't do that. You had your reasons, but
it could have been done a lot better in a lot of different ways, but I can't really fault it as a movie in terms of how it's made structurally, especially with the issues that they faced in production. It was as good as it was going to be.
Yeah.
And like I said, had it been about any other character, not Solo, or just any other franchise as a standalone movie, it would have been I think it would have been a franchise could have started its own franchise had somebody else come up with the exact same story with their own original IP, because it was a good movie.
It was a good movie. I think there's so much work, though, to take the aspects that aren't Star Wars of it and turn it into its own film that's not Star Wars. Because that's the other part of why it works so well, is because it's also in the Star Wars universe, I would say.
That's why it got off the ground.
Yeah. So I love the actors. I love their job in it, especially emulating, a young Harrison Ford and young Billy D. Williams. I think they did fantastic for their characters. Woody Harrelson surprised me in how he was for that. He had depth to his character. I liked it.
I liked him.
It just, I have a lot of fun with that movie, but I see your issues with it.
I will take back some of my disdain for it, and I will put it back on my rewatch list if and only if the ending of Darth Maul appearing directly ties in to a live action version of him encountering Obi-Wan in Tatooine. If they tie that in
from Rebels,
I will go, okay, Solo absolutely needs to exist because of the ending with Maul. That would absolutely make it an essential piece of media. When they do that, it's okay in my book. I still have issues with it, but it's okay in my book.
I find it hard to think that they're going to do a live action remake of that for two reasons. One, because I feel it's so beautifully done in Rebels and the approach to it, and the whole Ezra aspect of trying to find Obi-Wan to protect him, and Obi was like, "No, I'm good, boss. You're in the wrong spot."
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that Ray Park is really not in the good graces of Star Wars at the moment to be able to do live action.
But that's what I thought they were doing, not what they were going with when I first saw Solo. I thought, okay, they're going to make a Kenobi movie, and they clearly want to make a sequel to this Solo movie. So if this does well, they're going to make a Solo sequel, make essentially a trilogy for Solo, which can then develop Darth Maul's character. Oh no, they're not going to now, but the original plan, this is what I was thinking when I was like, when the movie was coming out. This is what I thought they were going to. Back when Kenobi was going to be a movie, I thought it was going to be like this. They were going to make like a couple of these Solo movies and like tie into his deal with Jabba. And then that would get him to Tatooine, which would get Maul to Tatooine. And then they could tie it into Kenobi. Obviously, they went a complete different direction with that because Solo flopped and they decided no more fucking movies.
Which so unfair to Solo because it only flopped because people just stood ground to say we're not supporting any more Disney Star Wars because of The Last Jedi. Yeah. And I want to actually go back to that because you would mentioned it with your experience with The Last Jedi and how you liked it and then eventually started going, well, did I like it though? I had the exact
within hours.
I had the exact opposite effect, actually. That was the first Star Wars movie I walked. I got to the end of the movie and I was upset because I did not like it. And over time, after, thinking about it and rewatching it, I was like, okay, it's not as bad as I thought, but it's still not good. And I realized too, I unfortunately was in the realm of like, after The Force Awakens came out, I was really into a lot of theory channels. And unfortunately, I was watching Star Wars Theory. Please don't cancel me for watching that.
No, dude, like we were all expecting a lot more and those theories were amazing. And just what they did with Snoke was criminal.
Yeah. And then for the movie to come out and like my thoughts are like, oh, here's all these branches people have theorized of where it could go. And none of them went to it. I walked out of there in a huge disappointed mood and upset.
Expectation versus reality.
Exactly. And then, as time went on and I eventually rewatched The Last Jedi a couple times and going, okay, I got too invested in these things that were not even possible, more or less, because it's not
your headcanon got ahead of you.
Yeah. Shocker. You describing headcanon.
I mean, it's a good description of it.
It is.
Like, just think of the timing of Rian Johnson trying to make a Star Wars to subvert your expectations right as we've had literally years of expectations, nothing but expectations being built up. And he delivers us the most subverting expectations of all time movie.
Yeah. I think with The Last Jedi and subsequently The Rise of Skywalker, I think the swapping of hands between J.J. Abrams to Rian Johnson, and no flack to Rian Johnson, I just think they shouldn't. They should have found a way to keep J.J. on the development and like story of it, because when Rise of Skywalker came out, seeing what we got, Rise of Skywalker seemed way too fast paced for me, and it felt like it was trying to reopen and close threads from The Force Awakens that didn't get resolved in Last Jedi or even addressed.
It was JJ's attempt to clean up the thing that he built. Rian Johnson shattered on the ground, and JJ was like trying to put it back together, but he's obviously missing a shit ton of pieces now.
Yeah.
But like the Rise of Skywalker, like, have you seen the original idea for Episode 9?
I can't remember if I have or not.
Duel of the Fates.
Oh, that does sound familiar.
Originally, it was going to have Maul, for God's sake, dude. It was going to have Talon. Ahsoka was going to be there. There was
Star Wars Avengers.
There was going to be this ancient 7,000-year-old Sith Lord or some shit that teaches Kylo like the power to like drain life. Or it was going to like, and they just
somehow Palpatine returned.
Yeah, they had creative differences and then just took the laziest route. They just took the most controversial in my eyes, the most controversial aspect of Legends of Palpatine just being a returning thing, and did it in the worst way possible. With no explanation other than I was pulling the strings all along. I made Snoke. Like, but why? But
Yeah.
why the fuck would you do that? Like, why go through all this fucking trouble to do any of this shit? Like, you don't need to hide in the shadows anymore. Like, you are king shit of fuck mountain. Why are you doing all of this smoke and mirror shit? And like, what? Nothing about Palpatine in The Rise of Skywalker made any fucking sense whatsoever to me.
When it came out, I'll say I agree with you. When it came out, it's like, why the hell is he here? What are we doing? Since it came out though, and we've seen like Bad Batch season 2, we've seen episodes, Mandalorian grow. The Mandalorian, where they kind of explore that, even at the end of the Clone Wars into the early years of the Empire, Palpatine was already looking into ways to clone himself.
Right, and even in Battlefront 2, the story mode of that, it is explored.
Yeah.
So they have done a lot of work. They've done a lot of legwork to make that shit make sense, and they've obviously taken a lot from Legends and canonized it to make it make sense. But
because Last Jedi,
how it works,
sorry,
it just didn't work for me at all in the context of this trilogy. You didn't need Palpatine, and if you were gonna use Palpatine, you could have done it in a far more creative way.
Yeah.
Where instead of him returning back to life, have him be the first Sith Lord who discovers how to become a Sith ghost. But it's not really a Sith ghost. It's more of this Sith cloud that can envelop planets instead of, do something cool.
There could have been another way to go about it than just he cloned himself, which again,
just lol, he's back.
Yeah, which we get. Cloning is something that's been in the Star Wars universe, obviously. We have an entire fucking movie called Attack of the Clones. It's a whole era of the Clone Wars. We get it. Cloning is there.
It's kind of like a huge part of Palpatine's original plan, so why wouldn't he utilize it after his death? I get that, but it's just, oh my god.
But because they had to do so much legwork after The Rise of Skywalker to give enough canon and lore that showed, oh yeah, this is how it happened. It's like, you should have maybe done that first to hint at it, and then it come out to where like, oh, he was planning this. And then you didn't need to have, a dialogue like somehow Palpatine returned or anything like that.
Right, exactly. You could have actually, if you had actually sat down and created a plan for this trilogy where Palpatine does return, quote, suddenly at the end, you could have been planting those seeds through 7, through 8. And then when it finally happens at the beginning of 9, you're like, oh shit, I kind of expected this, but oh shit.
Oh shit, that one theory out of 1,000 actually turned out to be true.
Like this investment that I've been putting in since 2015, thinking, putting the pieces together made sense. But because they did not have any plan whatsoever, and it was just, you make a movie, now you make a movie, now you make a movie, it just fell apart.
It did.
And like going back to The Last Jedi, I feel like there's too many issues with that movie to make it like well received universally by the Star Wars fan or any fandom for that matter.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you took out the Canto Bite stuff or trimmed it down and you take out the Haldo maneuver and you take out Leia Poppins, you do those 3 things and it's not as bad. You still have, Luke drinking the milk, and you still have Luke motivations, which I didn't necessarily disagree with.
No, I thought the Surly Jedi thing was great.
And I thought the impression that Return of the Jedi Luke gave me was that he was not a Jedi Knight. He's more of a gray Jedi at that point. And he doesn't become a Jedi Knight until he just says, nah, fuck it, I'm throwing my saber down. And that's when, but he's fully capable of giving into his anger. And I can see the motivation of, oh, Jesus Christ, this kid's going to become Darth Vader too. I'm going to have this quick thought of I should kill him. But it's not, I'm going to kill him. There was no intent there.
Yeah.
There was just that fleeting moment of maybe I should take him out. Now, he ignited a saber, which expressed intent, but I didn't have necessarily a problem with that.
Yeah.
So if you just trim out those really stupid things, like the Haldo maneuver and Leia Poppins and Canto Bite, trim it down by half, we can have a functional Star Wars movie here now.
Sure. I disagree completely with people saying like, oh, they ruined Luke with that movie, because you think about everything from Luke's timeline of suddenly being thrown into the Galactic Civil War and realizing, oh, I have more power than I ever thought I could. Being hyped up of like, eventually you're going to have to face Vader. After learning that's his father, he sees the cycle of, oh, his dad was good, turned to the most evil person in the galaxy minus the Emperor. Knowing the atrocities Vader did and everything like that, to even seeing that as a possibility in anybody related to him, that would ignite some fear.
Like, let's be clear. Luke saw his like adoptive parents burnt to a crisp before his frontal lobe was even halfway done. He had his arm chopped off by his daddy. Didn't know he was my daddy before that was done. Like, his personality wasn't even formed. He was like in his like 20s, for God's sake.
He's a very flawed human, and as much as
you got to think about the brain damage. So, like, over 30 years, I can see how a man who was thrust into the spotlight, not given time to mature, not given time to grow, given a godlike amount of power, and then everything falls apart. Yeah, I can see why that guy just fucked off into oblivion.
And if you could argue, barely enough training compared to other Jedi as well, too, because he got 1 or 2 saber lessons from Obi-Wan. He did spend some time with Yoda, who, one of the greatest Jedi, according to him.
But like, very clearly didn't finish his training before he fucked off.
Very clearly. So, and after that was done, sure, he could commune with, let's say for the sake of argument, he was communing with Obi-Wan and Yoda as their Force ghosts, between Return of the Jedi and from when his Jedi Academy fell and igniting his saber with Ben. He's still missing years of practice and control over his emotions at that point. Of course he's gonna get a feeling of fear. And he
started 15 years too old too. Like, we gotta remember that.
Like father,
there's a
like
reason
son.
The Jedi start young is so they can repress their emotions and fully entrap them into this like indoctrinized cult, so that they can control them and not allow their emotions to become a weapon. Without that fundamental indoctrination of the cult, you are essentially a ticking time bomb. And it's not a matter of if you're going to explode or if you're going to quickly consider the dark side at one point. It's a matter of when. It's a miracle he made it that fucking long.
Yeah, and that's why I think the disgruntled hermit Luke works, because he thought he was doing right by the Jedi Academy. He's bringing the Jedi back. He essentially fucks up with his nephew, and to see everything get burned down at the hands of that, of course he's going to blame himself.
That'll make a motherfucker quit.
I don't get how it's wrong for Luke to go into hiding and be a hermit, yet okay for Yoda.
Here we go. That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, people were like, a Jedi would never do this. A Jedi would never go into isolation and hiding. Like, bro, the best, your quote, like, you're the strongest Jedi of all time, aka war criminal Yoda, did exactly that when he got bitch slapped one time. He didn't even fully lose that fight. He got bitch slapped by a chair and went, you know what? Nah.
I'm just going to abandon my duties on my post. I failed. Yeah. I'm going to go eat frogs. Yeah,
pretty much. Like, I'm gonna go become this. Look, that is exactly what a Jedi does. A Jedi is so arrogant and so like self-righteous that they can't comprehend the concept of losing. So when it finally smacks them in the face like it should, they shatter. Their entire worldview explodes right in front of them. They're like, oh my God, I've wasted my life on all of this. I need to go put my dick in a tree in the swamp.
And even then, I would argue that Luke did it better than Yoda, because even when Rey's trying to talk to him about like, oh, we got to do this for the Jedi, he's like, no, the Jedi were arrogant assholes. He even says that in it. It's like he knows more than Yoda at this point, because he's admitted to it.
And you do have Yoda come back to go give Luke that final lesson, which I will teach my son, and it's one of the reasons I'm like, okay, the prequel, the sequel trilogy had some gems. Is that failure is the greatest teacher. Like, that was great.
Yeah.
So like, and that brought him back. But Luke had the right idea. He saw exactly what the Jedi Order had done. It had fallen multiple times. It had become stagnant. It literally facilitated the existence of the Sith in hiding, and then later facilitated the existence of the Empire because of their self-righteous arrogance and their policing of the galaxy. So he wanted to build something different than that. And when that something different also failed, he was like, all right, well, none of this shit's going to work then. Fuck it. I'm done.
Yeah. And
Which is totally, I'd do that. Are you kidding me? I'd say fuck
absolutely.
it after I wouldn't have even tried. I've been like, oh, that's how the Jedi Order went. Yeah, we ain't doing that. That's not good.
And then to see all your hard work go up because even you fell victim to your emotions and your own
For
hubris.
like a split second, he had that, and then all his entire world falls apart. Yeah, I'm gonna fuck off. And he left a map. It's not my fault. R2. It's not his fault. R2 got all depressed.
Yeah. If anything, be mad at R2 more than Luke, because R2 could have fucking fixed this shit so fast.
Now, given they could have written it in a way that made more sense on why Luke was inaccessible, because bottom line, Luke would go back to help his sister. He would. And with Han dying, come on. I feel like Luke, no matter what, would. So they could have written it in a better way. And the fact that we didn't get any interaction between Luke and Han is meh. But overall, his character arc, the thing that people had issues with, not like the actual writing of it, it totally fits for me. It fits for the Jedi. It fits for Luke. And it fits for what a human being would do in these sets of circumstances. Your entire world would shatter and you would probably want to give up. Most of us would probably just, jump down, take a ride down the sewer slide. And he didn't do that.
I think I will push back. I don't think he would have, after hearing that Han was gone, I think that wouldn't have gotten him to get off his ass and go help Leia. I think that would have just made him feel worse, because then he's going, oh, great, my nephew, who I should have killed my nephew then if he killed my, one of my best friends.
Also a valid point.
So
it reinforced it.
Yeah. Being like, oh, if I never started training him, I never would have ignited my saber. I never would have set him on its path, and Han would have never died. It's all me. I'm staying right here. So.
And also the throwing the lightsaber thing, I don't agree with, but the lightsaber existing. Maz, when are you going to tell that story?
Yeah, why the fuck do you have that?
It's been 11 years, Maz. When are you going to tell me the motherfucking story, Maz? When's it going to happen, Maz? I've been waiting.
It hurts to hear you say that it's been 11 years since that movie, because I swear to God, it still feels so fresh. Oh, my God.
Yeah, no, 2015. I mean, it's been 10 years in 5-6 months, but you get the point. Like, Maz said, this is a story for a different time. When's the different time, Maz?
When do we get that solo show, huh? When's that standalone movie?
When's that comic book? I don't even care if it's in a comic book at this point that gets released in one country for 5 minutes that only has 500 copies. I'll find it.
All right, you heard it here first. Wombat will pay a pretty penny for that comic if it ever comes out. You heard it here first.
Every man's got a price.
Okay.
Name it.
Moving on. Anyway, no, it's funny you talk about the hubris of it and being such a of the Jedi and being such a good storytelling point for not only Luke's development in The Last Jedi, but also what we see, as an overarching, theme as the prequels go on, as the story develops there, knowing that Palpatine's literally in the room with the Jedi and they can't fathom that he would be there with them. And I want to transition to this because I know this is going to piss you off. That was a theme that made me really like The Acolyte, was getting to see that in real time, and why I think that was a good show. One of the reasons why it was a good show. And I know we started talking about this, whatever it was, a week or two ago, and you were adamant with me that I was wrong.
That's what I'm still processing. When you told me that you liked it, my immediate thought was, did we watch the same fucking show? And I do have one thing I have to ask. Did you watch it while it was coming out week by week?
Yes.
Okay, so there was 45 minutes of nothing fucking happens for like weeks on end, and they kept telling, how many fucking times do I need to see the same thing happen from a different person's perspective? Like half of that show was rewatching the same episode.
Well, and I think that's why I liked it, was because it expands on the idea that the Jedi are by no means the perfect protectors of peace that they've claimed that they are. Between both the main Jedi and then the one Jedi Master who was responsible for Qyburn, they both have their secrets. They have their skeletons in the closet of the shit they've did as Jedi that they're choosing to ignore, that they're choosing to repress and it has real world consequences for them in the development of the galaxy. And getting to see these from the same perspective, yes. Is it repetitive? Absolutely. When it comes to a weekly release scheduled show, it is very frustrating. I will concede that point. However,
I will concede that the end where we got this being this, we need to sweep this under the rug, and like this conspiracy of the Jedi do kind of know about this, but they're actively suppressing this so to maintain their power. I like that. I like that a lot. And I did like the political banter in the show. But anytime we focused on like the main plot,
it was very slow. It was
slow. It was plotting. The acting was not great. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. And
the best actor in the show was the villain.
He was great. I liked him. I did like him, and he was cool. It just, at no point could I get invested into this because we were jumping back and forth. The story didn't really make sense to me to begin with. And to waste Plagueis in a show that you don't know is getting a second season, like that shows a level of, we talk about Jedi arrogance. Let's talk about Disney arrogance. You did a tease on Plagueis without getting a second season greenlight.
I think they assumed it would have gone better than it
and that's my
did.
point. That's my point. That's the Disney arrogance. You put that out, and it was overwhelmingly negatively received. And you had the balls to show me Darth Plagueis in live action for the first time ever, something I've been waiting for since before my balls dropped, in a show that you aren't sure you're going to be able to follow up on? Why would you do that to me?
I think it makes sense, though, for them to tease him in there, regardless if it got a second season or not. Just in terms of the timeline of where the show takes place and showing, some of the high-level arrogance of the Jedi. And even, at the final episode of the season, to show her going to Yoda for assistance, to know that, in this age of the Republic, Plagueis was starting to do his shit that eventually will lead to Palpatine, which will eventually lead to everything else we've come to know. Regardless if it gets a second season or not, I think it makes sense timeline-wise to tease that. Granted, I'm pissed too because same reasons. We're not going to see that, and I really want to see that. But at the same time,
I feel like it would have just been better as a movie.
I could see that too.
It was just so much. It felt like so much filler, and it felt like a story that didn't need to be told and was told in a poor way, in a way that nobody understood why they were telling it or where they were going.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like there was a general, not disregard or disrespect for Star Wars, but a general apathy for pre-existing lore and pre-existing traditions within how this is going to work. And I'm not the biggest why the fuck Kiadi Mundi person, but I am a why the fuck Kiadi Mundi person. Like, why have him there? Like, why open that rabbit hole? Because they didn't think about it. They just thought, let's put a recognizable character here so we can get that cheap pop. And they clearly didn't look into how much information might or might not be out there about that character.
Well, like, again, I don't think, I know one of the debates on that is how old is Kiadi Moody then compared between then and his appearance in,
that's less so for me because his birthday is not technically canon.
Yeah.
So it's less so his age for me. It's more so you lied straight to Qui-Gon's face then, because you know that there's dark side users. You have a very good idea that the Sith is still out there. Even if you can't confirm it, you lied straight to his face and that got him killed by a Sith. That is so wrong.
Well, see, and that's where I feel like the show, wasn't fully able to explore the story completely. And because of that, I don't think that's necessarily a lie, though, because at the time they reported, and I didn't go back to watch the episode, so I may be misquoting myself here, But in my recollection of watching it and the knowledge that was being presented in the briefing when he was in that room, they never said it was a Sith. They informed that, hey, there's somebody going around killing Jedi, but I don't believe they mentioned, hey, it's a Dark Force user or a Sith or somebody like this, to where when he says the Sith have been dead for millennia, he doesn't know that it's a Sith. So technically it's not like, and again, the story didn't finish.
Right.
We're never going to get the finished story.
At some point, they do say that he was like a fallen Jedi, like he is a former apprentice or something like that. But the thing is, if it was just a conversation like Qui-Gon and Ki-Adi-Mundi were just out to, you know, Daxter's diner or whatever, or Dexter's diner, and they were like, hey, man, yeah, you hear anything about the Sith lately? Nah, man, I'm pretty sure they've been dead for like millennia. Okay, we're good. But Qui-Gon straight up says, yo, that guy had a red lightsaber. He tried to kill me. That was 1000% a Sith I saw. And Ki-Adi-Mundi's like, nah, man, there's no way that was a Sith. There's absolutely no shot in hell. When there is a shot in hell, I saw that shit. And you saw something that would give you the idea that he has evidence and he just rejects it with the, like, even though Qui-Gon has sufficient evidence and Ki-Adi-Mundi was directly involved in a cover-up that involved a dark side user, whether or not they confirmed he was a Sith, that gives you ample suspicion that maybe Qui-Gon's right here, and don't shut his shit down immediately.
Again, it just all comes back to that reoccurring theme about the Jedi's arrogance, you know, because also at the same time, Yoda was in that room. We clearly know he's going to learn. Last we saw, he was going to learn something about the situation in the Acolyte. He kept his mouth shut too in that meeting. Like, he let Ki-Adi-Mundi say that piece, and he didn't go, well, actually, if you recall, he just went, yeah, no, you're fucking full of shit, Qui-Gon. Like, he just let him speak.
Yeah, no, and that makes sense to me because Yoda's a piece of shit. He's a terrible person. He is the worst. Criminal, like, Yoda. He is absolutely no. I want to say I don't have the source for this, so don't sue me. But I want to say some guy that like studies war crimes and like the actual law, everything behind it, like tallied up the amount of war crimes committed in Star Wars and like ranked the characters in terms of like how many they've committed. And the number 1 and 2, you're gonna get, you'd obviously guess would be Palpatine and Vader. Chopper, fucking okay.
Chopper is the greatest war criminal in Star Wars. What do you mean?
I mean, okay. I think we're going for non-droid, fully sentient. But I get your point.
Chopper has committed more on-screen war crimes than any other character.
I don't know. R2 was straight up using a flamethrower with some people.
R2's using a flamethrower, but I'm pretty sure Chopper made an entire interdictor explode that wasn't attacking and was like disabled already.
Hashtag Chopper did nothing wrong.
Hashtag Chopper war criminal. What do you mean?
My point being that the number 3 on that list was Yoda, because he committed so many war crimes against his own troops. Like, he treated the clones as if they were just droids. He did not give a fuck about them. They were irrelevant.
Did a lot of other Jedi.
And that's the thing. Like, the Jedi, like, I feel like a lot of people didn't get the story that George was telling, was that at the end of the day, there is no good. There is no evil. There is only power, those who are willing to wield it and those who will be crushed under it. Yeah. And it's all about who has that power. Like, there's no objectively right thing or objectively wrong thing to do. It's all about how you use it. And so many people are like, no, Sith are bad guys. Like, no. That's like saying the Horde are the bad guy. Like, no.
And the Horde have done nothing wrong either.
I mean, you know, but still, it's like, burn the tree.
Burn the tree.
Get the rest.
Well, and that's why I've loved Andor so much. That is why it's one of my top programs that Star Wars has ever produced. Is it really showed just like, it doesn't matter.
It would probably be in my top 3 had I remembered. Like, I gotta go. Like, that's what I'm doing this week, by the way. Do not let me show up to raid next week without having, like, if I have not watched Andor by next Tuesday, I'm not invited.
Oh, I'm gonna check with you in 2 days and see how far along you are with it.
Shit, I don't. Dude, I got Final Fantasy to play. Damn it.
Yeah, you can second monitor that shit. What do you mean?
fair enough.
You got a laptop, play on your laptop and watch on the TV. There you go.
ADHD powers, go!
Exactly. But no, like the entire setup and the entire feel and like flow of that entire show, especially season 1, seeing, these people just living their lives and constantly finding themselves up against a wall in some way or another, just because of the people wielding power are doing so however they want and being unchecked. It's so good of a show. And I saw a meme ages ago that like it really speaks to and hits hard was, me watching Star Wars when I was younger. It's like, oh, they're gonna lightsaber battle, let's go, I'm so excited, to where I'm now like, oh, they're gonna make a motion in the Senate, let's go. And it really is true.
Right. Yeah, that shit that people were like, Phantom Menace was too political, and now we're like, where's the politics?
Exactly. And
it's kind of weird.
It is very weird, and age changes us all. But that's why I feel like
lightsaber battles, though.
Oh, we never
went finish that thought.
I was just gonna say that just the world building outside of the flashy battles and everything, and seeing how much power is exchanged, fought against, grabbed, and everything like that made Andor such a good show to me. And I will firmly put that as one of my top projects, if not up there. Like, I will never beat Empire Strikes Back, but fuck, it tries to, in my opinion, and how good it is.
Yeah. I feel like Andor did what The Last Jedi Canto Bight was trying to do.
Yes.
With the there is like the same people are funding both sides, dude. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter which side wins. So these guys still get rich. And they did that in a way that wasn't insulting.
Yes.
To the viewer, and it was a more like I don't know, targeted attempt at it, that
the Canto
characters that we cared more about.
The Canto Bight scene is definitely equal to the scene in the Titanic when Billy Zane's character has to shout and remind the audience that he put the coat in the jacket that Rose is now wearing. Like, hey, audience, you're a fucking idiot. Let me make sure you caught this story note that happened. It very much runs the same link there.
Which is why I said if you like trim that in half, it would have done a lot of good for that movie.
Yeah.
You can still have that little, hey, war is bad, and like, because I do like, the world building and the storytelling of that, because let's be honest, these movies have always been about good versus evil and war and two sides, and how those two sides aren't always as clear as you would think. Because like the whole concept of the prequel is this civil war is literally being dictated by one guy.
Yeah.
He's and that's the whole story of the prequel. So for people to be like, oh, why would you add that? No, it makes sense to have it. It was just done in such a ham-fisted fuck you way that it was insulting. But Andor's like done in a way. Actually, the way to put it is The Last Jedi did it like they tried to explain it to us like we were children, and Andor explained it to us like we were adults and had respect for us.
Yeah, absolutely. There's the one episode where the guy on Coruscant's explaining to the Imperial ISB officer, what he sacrificed. That's that scene with his speech of like everything he sacrificed of, not being able to look himself in the mirror, that he's sacrificed himself being able to use any tools other than those of his enemy, and like everything, and it just breaking it down in such a beautiful speech. It is such a well done thing to where like, but it took the time to get there, right? It took the time over 5 or 6 episodes of Andor to get to that point, to understand the character, understand what's going on, and there versus the whole Canto Bight sequence had to be done in 30 minutes of a 90-minute runtime. And
exactly, with no setup and no follow-up.
Yeah, it just did that.
And that's probably why Rogue One ranks as one of my favorite projects, because, I mean, Rogue One is very similar to Andor in my book.
Well, I would say Andor is similar to Rogue One.
Yes, I know. I think Andor does it better, though.
True. That's
why I'm saying I think they do it better, because I think Star Wars just translates better in a show format. So they have the advantage there.
True. To where they can take the time to really focus in on one thread or plot action and expand it into best of ways in the show capability. Yeah.
and really have you like in Rogue One, you don't have a lot of time with these characters, and you
No.
know they're not going to make it because they're not in A New Hope. You know these motherfuckers ain't making it.
Yeah.
Like you know, the second you see this guy, oh, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead, he's blind and dead, and but they still manage to get you to go fuck by the end when they all get murked. You're like, no,
Because
oh
you wanted to
no,
hope for it. You wanted to see
yeah,
it happen.
and that was the whole point of the movie was hope always exists, and it leads directly into Leia saying hope, and it fucking nailed it.
It
It had a
nails it.
direction, and it was like, we are going to drive this point home, and this is the point of the movie, and you're gonna know it, and you're gonna cry like a bitch, and I did.
And it did something that I want to say they made a shift to in a lot of media. I want to say in Rogue One specifically is when I first noticed it, and then like everything after really kind of followed suit. Is Vader's scene on the Rebel ship is one of the most
Oh my god, yes.
amazing and horrifying displays of power of Vader
It is
they've
straight
ever
up
made.
Michael Myers like energy.
Yes.
It's this it is so well done. If that's you, I feel like that's going to be when I get my kid into Star Wars, that's going to be his introduction to Darth Vader, because that's going to tell him everything he needs to know about this character
Yes.
in one scene. Do not fuck with this guy.
Well, and that was the crazy thing, right? Like, and that was one of those moments. And like I said, with like future, like, was it Jedi Fallen Order, the first Cal Kestis game, when he shows up at the end of the game, spoilers, by the way, and the Inquisitor is like shitting her pants, afraid of Vader coming down.
Oh
Like,
yeah, he's a god.
I remember watching the original trilogy and going, "Oh, Vader's a big bad guy, whatever." But in since Rogue One, I feel like they've gone out of their way to truly show just how terrifying and powerful he is. From like even in the Kenobi
Right.
show, in his fight not only with Kenobi, but in with the fight with the Inquisitor when he thinks he's caught Kenobi. You know, his movements with his saber are so purposeful, so powerful. Like he's not doing these flashy spins or anything. It's just straight up like just strikes and he doesn't give a shit. Hell, even and this goes into something else with the lightsaber duels they've made, but like he just doesn't need to do the flashy stuff because this guy truly is him. And
Right.
it's really
It's
making me afraid of Vader in a way that I never was when I was a kid at 34 years old.
Exactly. And speaking of Kenobi and Darth Vader, I got to just go back to when he throws Kenobi in the fire and just drags his ass through
Mhm.
that. When I was watching that, dude, I was popping off. I was like screaming, yes, more, drag him. You deserve that shit. I was so happy that he was giving Kenobi, like, dude, you left me to burn
How
to
does it feel,
death. You
motherfucker?
deserve exactly. Like, I don't care how you feel about good, evil, Kenobi. Dude deserved to be dragged through that.
And the final fight between Obi-Wan and Vader at the end of that show, when I come and talk about Star Wars to people and talk about like beautiful moments in with especially with the Disney era of Star Wars and how they've made so many moments that are just absolute gems. I always come back to after Vader gets his helmet cut and Obi-Wan sees Anakin underneath.
Right.
And that scene still gives me chills when he's like, "I'm not your failure. You didn't kill Anakin, I did." And just knowing that, like, and almost him smiling behind the helmet as he says that, it just
Exactly.
gives me
It
chills every time.
And it reinforces why Obi-Wan is so cold towards the concept of Anakin and Vader in A New Hope. It reinforces why he tells Luke that his father's dead, because that moment is when he realized, oh shit, he is just like really fucking gone. There's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely nothing I can do to bring him back. He actually is essentially dead. So in his mind, he wasn't lying to Luke. He was, obviously, but
Yeah.
in his mind, he wasn't.
From a certain point of view.
Ah, from a certain point of view, yes. Speaking of Obi-Wan, I do want to touch on Obi-Wan in A New Hope, because
Okay,
I don't know about you, um, but I have to ask you a question.
go for it.
Who killed Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru?
Like, are you saying like which
Nope,
stormtroopers?
I'm asking who killed them? Like, who's responsible for their death? Whether it's a group of people, an organization, an individual, who killed them?
I feel like the answer you want me to go with is Obi-Wan, but
I feel like, no, yeah, I want you to give me what you think. Who killed him?
see, unfortunately, my headcanon is I go with the Robot Chicken sketch where they showed Owen and Beru when he was younger, and carrying Shmi to the house in episode 2. And he goes, "Oh, I guess that makes you Little Orphan Annie." And then later, when they're on their knees with their arms above their head with stormtroopers dousing the place in gasoline, and he goes, "Yeah, by the way, Vader says that you can now laugh at the Little Orphan Annie joke," and then kills them. That's my headcanon. Yeah. So
I mean, that would be great. That would be great. But if it was Vader, I feel like he would have done that a lot earlier. But
100%. No, I think it was the stormtroopers looking for the droids.
Okay.
And they tracked, like Luke says, they tracked down the Jawas. They got rid of the Jawas because they don't want the rebels. They don't want any trace of like the plans being anywhere the same planet for the rebels to take. And so tracking that, they were sold to Owen and Beru. That's where they led them. Right. And they tried to purge it.
Or so the Germans would have you believe. See, I have a different theory. See, they were killed by what? They were killed by fire. Mm-hmm. And in my recollection, there's only one character that's at least alive on Tatooine at the time who's ever utilized fire in a malicious and fucked up way. And that's Obi-Wan. And Obi-Wan wanted Luke to leave Tatooine. And Luke was absolutely not leaving Tatooine. He needed to be there for that season. He wasn't going to abandon his family. And it wasn't until after he came back and saw his adopted parents dead that he said, "Fuck it, I'll go with you." And also he goes out of his way to say that stormtroopers are accurate. He gasses up the stormtroopers' lethality when you can clearly see later on they're not as lethal as he made them seem.
Okay.
Obi-Wan killed Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen in an attempt to get Luke to abandon his family and go train as a Jedi for the greater good.
When the fuck would he have done that? Because I'm pretty sure up until that point, he was with Luke the entire time.
I don't know, Jedi shit. I'll piece it together better, but like it makes a lot more sense than stormtroopers dragging two people out and burning them alive. What purpose did they have to light them on fire? They've never done that. They don't really do that. It's not like they would just execute them and move on. Nah, man, they came out and tortured their asses. Obi-Wan wanted to make that look brutal. He needed that to sink in. He needed to be like, "See what the Empire did to your family? See what they did? Now there's nothing holding you here. Now you can come train to be a Jedi with me. Now you can help kill the people who killed them. See what they did? Yeah. Nah, I know what you did, Obi-Wan. You're a lying, narcissistic manipulator, and I know you."
I hear what you're saying. It wasn't Obi-Wan. It was Qui-Gon's ghost. There we go. No.
Oh, shit. Force lightning, bitch. Obi-Wan told him to do it. It was a conspiracy.
There you go. It's a conspiracy. But no, like,
oh man,
you say, the greatest meme is stormtroopers can't shoot shit. We know this, but I want to counter that because I want to say, when they need to be, they are fucking deadly. They didn't miss a lot of people in The Empire Strikes Back.
There's a meme behind they can't shoot shit, and they can shoot shit. The characters that they can't hit have quite literally, they have plot armor, both as and from a movie perspective, plus the Force is quite literally protecting them.
Yes.
Like, they're not just missing, the Force is actively making them miss. So I brought that up as like kind of a meme, but like I genuinely do believe there's a chance that Obi-Wan did that shit. I'm not even hand to God. I genuinely believe that I'm not sold it was the Empire.
Okay. Have you heard the theory of that for the New Hope, when they're trying to escape from the stormtroopers and everything, that they weren't missing because the Force was protecting them, or that they were bad? It was because Vader told them, let them go, because he had a tracker on them.
Oh yeah, that makes more sense.
Right?
It would hide the fact that they have a tracker. So, because why would you want to blow that shit up? Like, obviously you want to take it down, but like, I feel like the tracker was like a backup method. But yeah, I could see that. Because
like if they had already heard there was something going on, because Tarkin had heard, there's something going on in the detention level, and they're like, the princess, and she's gone. They could have easily said, just let them go. Don't harm them. Don't kill them. Granted, they don't give a shit about the stormtroopers. If the stormtroopers die in the chase, so be it. They're replaceable.
Yeah.
But don't kill them. Let them get to their ship because we already have the tracker on. Especially when he says, "I'm taking an awful risk. This better work." Talking to Vader, I'm thinking Vader had that idea. Just let them go. We've earned this win if we let them go.
And we know if Vader really didn't want them to go, he'd be on that planet. And he would just pull that bitch down himself.
Yeah, no shit. And then
like,
that's where it comes.
Just say nope.
And then that's where it comes into, see Empire Strikes Back, and those fuckers never miss. I mean, granted, on Hoth, they never miss. On Bespin, that's a different story, chasing Leia, and well, then again, they also knew the hyperdrive was
right. But basically, anytime you can basically explain anytime they're missing any key character, it's because the Force is an active character in this universe. It actively has a will and it is influencing things. It's a lazy explanation, but it works. It's the truth. It's the truth. I'm not a huge fan of it being the end all be all. That's why. But when you look at it, because Star Wars is not science fiction. It never has been. It's science fantasy. And that's the fantasy of it. You got to suspend your disbelief on that. I just hate having to do it without an explanation other than that's how it works, asshole.
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, it does, like you said, it feels lazy and you want to be able to see more of it. But it works in
that's
either
just
context.
My analytical mind because it works. It works. They don't have to. And like I said, and it would go against my previous criticism. Why explain what doesn't need to be? Let the mysticism take you over.
Yeah. Why do you need to explain a mage in Dungeons and Dragons how it creates a fireball from his hand? No, it's just wham, wham, fireball.
Exactly. Tavern up and fire, DM crying, everybody wins.
Yeah. Move on to the next campaign. There you go.
Exactly. Don't have to worry about the big bad evil guy when we don't have to worry about the campaign.
Exactly. I want to ask you this. The final 2 episodes came out today and I watched them this morning. Did you happen to watch any of the Maul show?
No, I didn't. I had a rough weekend and I got shit-faced on Saturday.
No, absolutely. You're fine. I only want to touch on this because, and I'm not going to spoil anything because, again, the last 2 episodes of the season came out today. They're obviously banking, on a season 2, which I can't imagine a world where they don't get another season. But that show was so well done. And God, I just love what they're doing with Maul from, the Clone Wars expansion of Maul's character and bringing him back, back when he was spider form, to his older era in Rebels and seeing these snippets, everywhere else. I am loving the exploration they're doing of the character, and it's so fucking good.
I'm very glad that I waited for this. Are you ready to be mad at me?
Go ahead.
I actually think this might piss you off because it pisses off my other Star Wars friends.
Go ahead.
I have not once in my life seen a single episode of the Clone Wars or Rebels. Not once. An actual episode. I kind of know some of the story beats and I know some of the important stuff that happens, but I've never sat down and watched them. Not even one episode. I saw the original movie of Clone Wars, but that's it.
See, that doesn't piss me off nearly as I think you assumed it would, mainly because I never watched Clone Wars or Star Wars, I'm going to say, until about 4 years ago. So.
Right. A lot of us got into it later because we understood what it was, but I just still haven't. And I think I've got a good excuse now because now I can be anytime my coworkers go yo, you have to watch it. I'm like, no. Now I'm waiting for my kid to understand things. So the first time I watch it is the first time he watches it.
That's a good excuse.
Nailed it.
I will say, as long as it's on your list to watch as a Star Wars fan, I think that's good enough for me because...
Yeah, it's on the list.
Rebels, I've rewatched Rebels, I want to say 3 or 4 times, and every single time that final season still gets to me. It is so good. The characters they create and even some of the expansion into the overall lore of the, canon Star Wars story is so good. Clone Wars as well too. I remember my first experience with the Clone Wars show was years and years ago. There was an Amazing Race episode where they went to the studio where they film it, and one of the challenges was they had to navigate a maze that the animators created using a VR helmet to get through. And I remember my parents going, "There's a Star Wars show." I'm like, "Yeah, it's some shitty animated thing." Because I hated on the prequels because it was cool, even though I fucking loved them.
You
And
fucking poser.
I know. Years later, I'm like, I really fucking love the
I
prequels.
took that prequel hate to the chin for years for you, you son of a bitch.
Listen, it was the cool thing to do, and I didn't have many friends growing up. I did what I could. Anyway,
Fair enough.
but then when I finally got around to watching the Clone Wars years ago, I'm like, man, I really hindered myself as a Star Wars fan because there's so many good episodes in there that just, like I said, it just expands lore. It's nothing groundbreaking or goes, oh, that explains this in episode 2 when they did X, Y, and Z or anything like that.
Right. It doesn't change anything fundamentally, but it adds an absurd amount of flavor to things you already know.
Other than
And
Anakin
that's how
having
I think they should do it.
Other than Anakin having an apprentice, which is never mentioned in episode 3.
Right. You'd think it would have been.
Yeah. Still so many characters and development and story notes that are just so well written. There's one episode in particular.
Love the parallel between Kenobi and Rebels, where Ahsoka cuts his mask, Kenobi does it. Like that parallel that's fucking cinema.
The only two people to break Vader's mask are the two people that were closest to him.
The one who trained him and the one he trained.
And they both cut opposite sides.
And that is fucking poetry.
Oh my God, it's so good. So good. It just, yeah, no. And like I said, there's one episode in particular. There's a lot of episodes that go into just the clones as well. And
humanize them.
And shout out to D. Bradley Baker for his incredible work as the clone voice actor, for making every clone sound the same, but also unique in the best of ways. Like, obviously Bad Batch, he does all the voices and they have different tones and everything, but every other clone that sounds the exact same, still you look at them, they're like, oh, they're the same person, but just how they talk, how they inflect certain words, even being a clone, he makes each performance so unique. And then the story writers for doing their own uniqueness to them, it's so good. To where when he gets to that scene in the Kenobi show, when he sees the clone trooper begging,
the homeless one, yeah,
it really hits it even more home of like, they just don't give a shit about the clones.
These were people that we just sent out. We made millions of them with no regard for their lives, no regard for them as people, and we just used them as if they were droids, and there were real fucking consequences to that.
Yes.
And the Jedi just failed to acknowledge that until it was far too late. And let's be honest, even without Order 66, clones probably would have shot him eventually anyway.
There's one episode in particular that I can think of where, and I thought about this earlier when you talked about how the Jedi treated him like shit, especially Yoda with his war crimes. There's one episode in particular that really drives that home, and the clones being like, what the fuck are we doing here? And it hurts every time watching it, but it's so good. So highly recommend, as soon as your kid can start understanding it, he's got to watch Clone Wars, because you have to watch the Clone Wars. It is fantastic. Oh yeah, for
sure. It's on the list, but he's a Tistic Biscuit, so we'll get there eventually.
Oh, shocker. Your kid is a Tistic Biscuit.
Hey man, apple, tree, ball sack, something like that.
Put that on a shirt, chat. Apple, tree, ball sack. Like, just, there you go, cinema. Holy shit.
I don't even know what the fuck.
I can't wait till your mom gets you that shirt for Christmas.
Dude, I'm gonna fucking shit my pants.
No, that's so good. But yeah, Clone Wars, fantastic show, and it just, oh man, D. Bradley Baker, like, I keep coming back to it. His voice acting is fantastic. Sam Witwer as Maul, he does an incredible job, and I love hearing the Kenobi scream every time it comes up. It
And
just,
it's not even that he does a good job as his character in every role he's in. That dude understands Star Wars on
oh,
a fundamental
100%.
fucking level, and that is one of the reasons he's so good is because as a fan, I know that anything he touches, he will make sure it is as Star Wars as it possibly can be, and he will, like you said with the meditation thing, he's like, "No, that shit doesn't make any fucking sense. Like this is
Yeah.
what makes sense." And then he just does it because he knows better and like he truly understands what he's getting into. So that's just
It's,
like beyond just his acting skill, his like his ability. The man just loves this shit.
absolutely. And that there's another interview where he's talking about when he was on for an episode with, these Mortis god beings, and he was voicing one of them. They had a scene where Anakin was talking to his mom, and he's like, you know, I'm married. I can't wait for you to meet my wife one day. And he actually like raised his hand and he's like, we need to redo that because she's already met him. And Dave Filoni, who's like right now the Jesus of the second coming of George Lucas in some people's eyes, of like, he's like holding his hat, like thinking, he's like, oh shit, they did. And the voice actor for Ahsoka, he said, when I was like, I've never seen somebody out nerd Dave Filoni at Star Wars before.
Yeah.
And the man's a fucking legend. If I ever have he's one of the people that like, when it comes to Star Wars actors, I would fucking love to meet and just thank him, because having somebody that really gives a shit about the medium is so good. Like same with Freddie Prinze Jr. with him being Kanan Jarrus in Rebels. There's so many clips of him being interviewed talking about it and just being like, knowing the medium, being a fan of it, and saying the shit from like a place of love and admiration for the entire franchise, and then also being on the ground level making the stuff. It makes a difference when people care.
Right. And you always kind of like, as a fan, you'll see something be created in a thing you love, and you'll have this theory or you'll have this idea, and you're like, I could write this better. He is like that happening.
Yeah.
The fan who could write it better, doing it
And
better.
does.
And that's why and he just does it. And I'm like, dude, you are literally doing what we wanted to do. You are the voice of that community. That's what it kind of serves as, because I trust he knows his shit.
Yeah.
I know he knows his shit, and I know anything he touches is gonna have that.
Like I heard people saying like, if Dave Filoni needs to take over Star Wars because he's similar. He cares about it. He studied directly under George Lucas, like working on projects and stuff, and he lives and breathes this shit. He loves this shit. Personally, I think he's too attached to his own characters. That's why we're really only getting mediums with or shows with his characters, like from Rebels and Clone Wars. But
Yeah, hence why I didn't really give an opinion on it, because jury's out on him for me.
but like,
An improvement for sure.
yeah,
But still out.
but my only thing is if Dave Filoni's at the wheel directing this stuff and telling where we're going with Star Wars, Sam's got to have the hand on the other side of it. Like it's got to be hand in hand between the two of them.
Exactly. They have to be two pillars. You're probably not going to get this reference because it's a wrestling thing, but I'm just kind of waiting for this to happen, where for years and years and years, wrestling fans, WWE fans wanted Vince McMahon out of the company and Triple H to take over, similar to how people wanted Kathleen out and Dave Filoni to take over. And not too long, like a number of years after, now everybody's just like, fuck Triple H, get him out. And I'm just like, when you're saying Dave Filoni second coming, I'm like, all right, let's give it like 5 years and see if this community, which is very volatile, sticks to that.
Oh my God, I know. And
I just like, I can't wait for him to make one or two stupid mistakes, and then just like everybody's gonna be like, crucify him.
Well, and Kathleen Kennedy, I feel so bad for, because like no matter what she did, it was never going to be right in so many of the community's eyes. Even before Star Wars fans turned into the huge online toxicity machine that we've seen over the past few years.
Yeah, but just because she wasn't going to get it all right doesn't mean she had to do all the wrong.
I'm not going to defend her in that sense either. I think there's some.
I think it was disproportionate though.
Yes.
Like she got the hate from everything, like all the hate that was directed at acting, production, directing. It was just like, well, fuck Kathleen Kennedy. Yeah, she's at the helm of this. She makes all the decisions. I hate her but I'm not gonna. But yeah, it's as a human being, like fuck, that sucks.
It does suck. And, we've seen, and so many other, I'm not saying it's just women, because plenty of men have also gotten hate, but the women in Star Wars since the sequel trilogy came out getting unfairly flamed online. Kelly Marie Tran having to just say, you know what, I'm done with social media because these Star Wars fans are literally demons. I feel so bad for
we're
her.
the worst. We are the worst. I mean, like I've calmed down, but like I used to be like I'll fight you, like, and in the Star Wars community, we are. I say we, not as in like you and me, but like the Star Wars fandom.
The
It
negative
can get
we.
really bad. It can get really fucking bad to a dangerous level. Like me personally, if I were an actor, I'd be terrified to work on a Star Wars project because if it flops, I'm gonna get death threats.
Yeah. And like that's where it's kind of evolved, like after my Star Wars theory era of I'm going to enjoy Star Wars for me. I don't give a shit if somebody else likes it, somebody doesn't. I'll have conversations with them. I'll respect their opinions. But like, and that's where like I come in and I watch The Acolyte and I go, you know what? I like this because I I go about it and I think this was a great show for me. It's not everybody's cup of tea. It is what it is.
Yeah, see, like we both like I don't think I changed your opinion. You still like the Acolyte. I still don't. But
Yeah.
like at by the end of that, I said something positive about it and you accepted my criticisms of it. And same with Solo. Like
Yeah.
it's not about convincing the other that they're wrong. It's about finding common ground in things that we both agree with because like so many times in the Star Wars community, like that could have easily dissolved into a screaming match if one of us decided to stand like dig our heels in the ground and if we were both just going full Star Wars neckbeard, but like it's a fucking, I mean, let's be honest, it's space wizards playing with laser swords. It's not that fucking serious.
It's not that serious. But much of the story of Star Wars and between the Jedi and Sith, people like to look at it as black and white, one or the other, when it doesn't need to be. It can be somewhere in between.
Exactly.
So it comes down to it. We enjoy Star Wars. It's what we like. Hell, despite everything, and how much Star Wars fans hate Star Wars, we're still here on May the 4th talking about it for 2 hours because we fucking love this shit.
It's kind of like politics. Like you can be on the right or the left, but your end goal should be you want the thing to succeed. Like you can hate what Star Wars is doing, you can love what Star Wars is doing, but if you love Star Wars, you want Star Wars to be good.
The only people that hate Star Wars are the people that don't understand it and say that, oh, America is the rebels in episode 4, when that wasn't what George Lucas intended. It's like, oh yeah, literally we're the rebels. We're fighting against evil. It's like, you do realize that was the Viet Cong, right?
I mean, the rebels were just, violent terrorists causing chaos and destruction throughout the galaxy. The Empire obviously had to step in and stop that little uprising. It was crazy.
All right. And before this gets too out of hand.
Long live the Empire.
Okay. We're coming up on the end of 2 hours, man. And honestly, that went so damn fast.
Yeah, it did.
I don't think we even got to half of the topics I think I set aside for us to talk about.
I have a feeling we didn't get, yeah.
But that was just so much. That's just so much fun, and I think that's the thing I love about Star Wars is you can set out to talk about one thing and talk about 30 different things that all tied to it, and it's great.
I mean, you put two neurodivergent dudes in a room with something they love, bro, that's all day.
I know. I did before we end this. I do want to ask this question because I feel it's only necessary. We talked about our favorite moments, our favorite movies, but who is your all-time favorite Star Wars character?
Fuck, that's hard.
I know.
Can I go by trilogy first?
How about I give you your top 3 favorite characters? Not by
okay.
Does that help?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's gonna technically be 4.
Okay. Go ahead.
I know. I gotta fuck it because it's gonna be in no particular order.
Palpatine in the original trilogy, Palpatine in the prequels, Palpatine in the sequels.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Palpatine's clone, Palpatine's ghost, Palpatine's digital face in Battlefront 2. No,
and Palpatine Prime. There you go.
Yes. No, it's gonna be in no particular order. Probably in order of exposure. Han Solo.
Okay.
Qui-Gon Jinn. And this is why I said it's technically going to be 4 because it's Anakin Vader.
Okay. Yeah, no, I can see that then.
So it's gonna in no particular order because just I love Qui-Gon and I hate that he was only in one
Mm-hmm.
because he could have literally prevented all of this,
Yeah.
first of all. And he was the only Jedi in the Order that really like actually held by the principles of the Jedi in a what the fuck's the word? In a way that was actually supposed to work. He was actually a Jedi, whereas
Yeah.
everyone else was just this arrogant dick. And there's a reason he wasn't on the council. My words failed me there, but you get my
I
point.
get exactly where you're
And
coming
then
from.
Anakin, like, dude, I wanted to be that guy. He's got to be there.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair. I do like with Qui-Gon the expansion of it into Tales of the Jedi too, when they released that series and seeing like a
Hmm.
younger version of him with Dooku as his master, and then like seeing the older, and even just the other stuff of just him like questioning the Jedi and like
Exactly. You can
really
see
built
like
into
what
that.
this, and it was the first time I ever saw Liam Neeson, so that was my introduction to him too.
Oh
So,
God, same.
and if you didn't cry when Qui-Gon popped up, like, what took you so long, dude? Like, dude, come
Dude,
on, that was magic.
I screamed at the TV when I was watching that and he showed up. Because, they're hinting at it
Yeah.
the entire time of like,
You knew it was gonna happen.
and to see it was Liam Neeson there just like, hey, you just weren't ready yet. I'm like, let's, Daddy Qui-Gon's back. Let's go. I
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just so good. If they never do anything else with Qui-Gon, they can end it on that and I'd be happy.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think they're going to do a Kenobi season 2. I don't know if it's on the board right now, but I feel like they
I
could.
don't know how
I
they
don't know.
could do that, though.
I feel like they could. I don't know if they should.
No, they shouldn't.
I'm leaning towards they shouldn't, but I think they could. But if we never see Qui-Gon in any capacity ever again, like, post his death, I'm happy with that. That was
Yeah.
that was a perfect ending for the perfect character who did not overstay his welcome in anything he ever was in. He
Agreed.
got his shit done. He impacted the story. He left a huge memory, and then he pieced out like a boss.
He did. And he said, hey, take care of this shit. I'm outie.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, nah, man. Like, I'm done. It's a go train the boy. I don't wanna.
Yeah. You know what? I started the shit, but you got to finish it for me because,
Pretty much. Like, yeah. Which really sucked for Obi-Wan because like Obi-Wan wasn't ready for that shit.
No,
That's
God,
like
no.
that's like being a dad at 16. Like, what do I do with this thing?
Well, he didn't understand Qui-Gon's positioning at all with him saying, if you would just listen to the council more, you'd even be on the council. And Qui-Gon's like, I'm not about that shit. But he never got to explain why he's not about that shit. So,
Which is a little bit on Qui-Gon. You had quite a number of years.
yeah, 100%.
Like if it were me and Qui-Gon, I would have been like, "Yo, we're 5 years in. Like that's what the Jedi were telling you, and that's all well and good, but they're full of shit, and the Council is lies, and we should probably not talk to them anymore. You cool? You cool? All right."
Yeah, we cool. Anakin
Because
was
that
more
was
like
Count Dooku.
yeah.
Because Count Dooku, let's just like quickly touch on him, because that motherfucker he did nothing wrong.
didn't.
Honestly,
Objectively,
he
he
did
did
nothing
not.
wrong. He was the victim in this situation.
Yeah.
He simply wanted his people on his planet and other planets that were like-minded like him to be able to live under their own government, under their own freedom, they weren't oppressing the people. They weren't gonna like be all like it wasn't like, evil side, we want to do all the bad things that the Republic
It wasn't
doesn't
the
wanna do.
Empire.
It was simply a secession. They just didn't want to be part of this anymore. They didn't like where it was going. They wanted to be a part. And the Republic was like, no. And then the Jedi were like, yeah, no. So like, how can you possibly say that Count Dooku's the bad guy there?
I know.
He was like, yo, can we be free? Jedi are like, no. Okay, I'm gonna fight you then.
He was the most honest
to mention-
motherfucker.
Not to mention who used droids and who used real sentient people.
True.
Count Dooku sent fucking droids without thoughts and feelings. Yeah, they humanize them for storyline purposes, but they don't have thoughts. They don't have souls. They're like droids. You can argue that some droids kind of achieve some sense of sentience in Star Wars, but those didn't.
Those didn't. They were bred for one purpose and one purpose
Yeah,
only.
exactly. So like that was he fought the war more ethically. He had a far more moral justification for war. He didn't want this war. He was fighting it because he had to, and he got boned by every side.
You know who's the biggest asshole? Obi-Wan. Because Dooku told him in episode 2, hey,
Straight up.
Palpatine is the Dark Lord of the Sith. he's controlling the Dark Lord is controlling the Senate, and Obi-Wan's like, nah. And then he was like, oh my God, Palpatine's a Sith Lord. Who fucking knew?
And pretty much, like, that just circles back to Jedi arrogance.
It does.
Like, that's inside. So I just had to touch on Dooku because, like, I mean, because you gotta give it to Christopher Lee. He killed it.
Oh,
and
when doesn't he?
Right, exactly. When doesn't he? But like, anything he's in, he adds something to, and that character was like the perfect. I'm in the villain role, but I'm actually fucking right.
Yeah, 100%. And the way Christopher Lee delivers the lines with that conviction in there of just like, it's such a good performance.
Oh yeah.
But
I mean, dudes in Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, you win.
You win. Absolutely. But I think that was a tremendous talk. I think that was a lot of fun. And boy, howdy, we could do another 4 episodes, and I don't think
I was about to say, like,
this.
exactly. We could go for 8 hours, and we'd be like, ah, shit, what? Oh yeah, this.
Yeah, I think maybe down the road we bring this back and we continue on the conversation and see what we didn't touch on and see what else we could get into, because it was great having you on here, bud, and I hope you had fun too.
I think would be really cool. Yeah, I had a blast. I would love to do this anytime you'd want me to, but I think one thing would really be fun, maybe for YouTube videos, like we both watch through the Acolyte episode by episode and have a discussion about it. No, genuinely, I'll rewatch that shit.
Yeah, no,
for the sake of, especially if it's for content. Fuck, whore me out.
All right, and on that note. On the note of Wombat saying, whore me out, I really hope your mom's watching.
Hi, Mom. I'm on YouTube.
Gonna be on Kick if you're not careful. You're gonna get me banned.
Yo.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining. Wombat, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. We'll definitely have to explore this later in the future. Before we go, though, I just want to take a quick moment here on my own. And I want to talk about something that I came across the news yesterday, and it's something near and dear to my heart. The YouTuber Chilled Chaos yesterday announced he is retiring from content creation. That man has been doing this for nearly 20 years, I want to say. One of the OGs on YouTube that I really got into growing up, and he's hanging it up. He's at a point where he's been doing this for this long, and he wants to figure out his next steps for himself and see who he is, not as Chilled Chaos, which I can only respect. I mean, honestly, with the entire decision, he brought countless hours of just amazing content and humor. I know his content personally helped me through some times growing up and just helped me fall in love with the idea of the content creator space. So I just want to take a moment at the end of this episode to shout out to Chilled Chaos and say what a hell of a run he's had. And I'm excited to see what he gets up to, if he decides to share any of it with the online community he's built, or if he's just keeping it to himself. Either way, I wish him the absolute best. He's an amazing person and deserves pretty much all the success he's earned for himself and everything that's coming into the future. So with that, we're going to end the show. Thank you guys so much for joining. We'll be back for the next scheduled maintenance show next week, Monday, live here on Twitch at noon Central Time. We're going to have another guest on the show talking about who knows what. Might be Star Wars, might be games, who knows. But we'll be happy to see you. And YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you being here. You guys have a good rest of your day. Remember to take your meds, drink your water, and have something to eat. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Before we go, I'd like to give a special shout out to everyone over on the Patreon, as well as thank you again for watching this video. If you liked what you saw and want to see more like it, please consider subscribing. That way you're guaranteed to see more of my content, and it's the best way to support the channel and the work that I do. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.